Super excited that you're here. All right, today I want to talk to you about buyer reluctance and creating buyer urgency. And I'm just going to share some thoughts with you from Shift, and then I'm going to ask you guys to have a conversation with me. So I need participation on this. If you have the book, I'm in Shift, and I'm on page 186, middle of the page. When the market changes, it can throw people off balance. They were going along with their life, and then the market tosses a wrench into the engine, driving their decisions. All of a sudden, they're not sure of themselves and are hesitant to move forward. So basically, what he's saying there is when we're in a really good market, like we were back in 2021, really good from the point of view that there's a lot of people buying, a lot of people selling, a lot of deals being done. 6.3 million homes sold in the US in 2021, roughly 4 million homes sold last year. So it's a shift. When the market's going well and there's a lot of homes being bought and sold, people who are buying homes, and that's what we're really focusing on here in today's conversation, they're buying homes with a positive expectation that the home is going to be worth more than what they paid for it. So they're excited. They have motivation to buy because they're buying at a time when they expect the market values to go up. And they're also buying for personal reasons. In other words, they're moving or they need a bigger home because they had a baby or job transfer or something else. Now, fast forward to 2024. Now you take away those positive expectations. The only thing that exists today is personal reasons. So you've ruled out all the people that are buying and selling with positive expectations, and you're left with only the motivated. All right, I'm going to go over to page 187. I'm going to share a couple more things with you, and then I'm going to ask you to talk to me. So test this with a buyer. Ask them the question. All right, so this is for a buyer who has concern about prices. Do you think that prices have dropped? The book is Shift, Shannon. Okay, there you go.
Oh, shift. Okay, I wasn't hearing it right.
Yeah, and if I mispronounce it, you guys think I said something else. So ask them the question. By the way, so you're asking questions knowing what the answer is before you ask the question. You're being strategic in your conversation. Just ask them, do you think prices have dropped? You know you're going to hear yes. You're going to say yes. Now, the next question you're going to ask them is, do you think they'll ever go back up again? Really good question, guys. Do you think they'll ever go back up again? Now, what you're doing is you're creating a paradigm shift because in their mind, they're thinking prices are dropping. Oh my God, prices are dropping. And all they can do is they can't see past the fear of prices are dropping. And now what you've done is you've shifted the way they're thinking to, wait a minute, prices will go back up eventually. So there's a paradigm shift there. They have a different perspective. All right. Again, they'll say yes, eventually, then ask. So aren't you then saying that it's actually okay to be buying, to be out buying again? So do you think prices are dropping? Yes. Do you think they'll ever go back up again? Yeah. Then what I'm hearing you say is it's okay to be out buying right now. All right. Given how you feel, if we found a home today that met all your needs and your most important wants, we found a home today that met all your needs and your most important wants, is there any reason why you wouldn't make an offer to purchase that home today? Good question. If you hear no, then you're good to go. Go find the right house, make sure it fits their needs and what they want, and write the offer. Now, if they say yes, listen to what the reason is, isolate that. Is there anything other than, overcome it, and then go back to the same question? All right, pause and add one last thing. Sellers are in the same situation you're in. Another paradigm shift. Help them understand sellers are going through this too. They also know prices will come back up someday, but they don't know when. So this is giving the buyer a different perspective. They have the advantage because they're buying a home from somebody who's been in that home for 5, 6, 7 years, who's thinking, I'll stay another 2, 3 years and then I'm going to sell, because the average homeowner in the US sells, let's say, every 10 years. They've been in the home 7 years. They're thinking, I'm going to sell in 3 years, where you're buying the home today. You're going to be in it another 10 years. So if prices drop, who cares? They'll come back up and your home will be worth more than 10 years than it is today. Meanwhile, the seller is looking at it from a perspective of prices are dropping, and I don't know when they're going to stop dropping. If I wait another 3 years and sell my home, how much money could I potentially be losing? Advantage buyer. All right. Genuine sellers want to or need to sell now, but they also have fears too. They don't know if prices will go lower either. So if they can sell today, they will. That means they are ready to deal because they're afraid today might be the best price they're going to get. This makes most very willing to consider all reasonable offers. All right, guys, if you have the book, it's page 186, 187. I highly recommend that you go in, read it, read it, read it, read it, underline it, highlight it, internalize it, and start creating conversations with your buyers around what I just shared with you. All right, I want to hear from you. Take yourself off mute and talk to me. Questions, thoughts? Mastermind with me.
There's a lot of people who are always asking, at least me, I'm sure y'all as well. Is it a good time to buy or sell? Is it a good time? I mean, that is like a huge question in the market with all the front page news. And my response is, look, there's always opportunity, right? And if you buy now with higher rates, what do you think is going to happen when rates go down? You're getting a lower price. Prices are going to go up. And so I think it's the same concept as the page you were just reading, giving people a little vision of what can happen. Because when you buy a home, you're not buying it for a year anyways. You're not renting. You're buying to own. What does it look like in 3 to 5 years? And I tell people all the time in our market, guys, this is the moment. This moment doesn't come very often in Austin.
That's right. That's right. Brian brought up a really good point there, everything he shared, but I want to just repeat one of the things that I heard. You need to get with your local lender and understand what difference it's going to make in a monthly payment for interest rates to go up or down by 0.5%, up or down by 1%. Do it based on different price ranges. Have this ready to go so you don't have to go do your math. In other words, if the average price home in my market is $400,000, then I'm going to do this for 350, 455, and so on, so that I have that information ready to go. Because what matters most once the deal is done is how much that monthly payment is.
I don't know if this will be helpful or not, because we're in a different market than Austin. Our market here is still on the up.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of competition. Buyers are paying above asking price with very strong terms. It's happening still. And the conversation I'm having with these buyers with a little bit of uncertainty, oh, it's a bad time to buy is what that's the consensus of all the buyers. Oh, it's really just a terrible time to buy a house right now. And so we have the conversation, and ultimately what I get to is, okay, so we look at comps, we see what the other properties have sold for, what other people are paying for them, and you're gonna make an offer that makes sense to you. And we might get to a point where you feel like, you know what, this house, I've missed it, 8 houses already, I've made strong offers. This house, I'm willing to go 3% higher than what I think the comps are showing me. I go, and then a year from now, our average appreciation for the past, handful of years has been more than 3% in this area. So you're paying over 3% now, 3% more right now, and you feel like you're not getting a good deal. Talk to me in 3 years. You're gonna have a good amount of equity at that point in time if we trend this way for a few more years. And in our market in Cleveland, that's the way we're heading. So if they feel like they're not getting a good deal now, it's just a matter of timing, because yeah, I've seen this over the past few years, is Yeah, you felt like in 2018 that you were really paying a premium for this home, and now you got $100,000 equity in it. You know, we've gotten a lot more than 3% annual appreciation in this market. So that's something that seems to resonate with the buyers that I'm talking to in that type of environment.
Ben, thank you for sharing. Really good perspective. And thanks for being here, by the way. It's good to have Cleveland, Ohio area, right? I know it's Northern Ohio. Did I come close? Yeah, I did. Okay. So for all of you in Austin, there you go. There's a few of you here today. So raise your hand. You got a little button here at the bottom. If you hit the more button, I think you're going to see where you can raise your hand. Throw up your digital hand and I'll come to you. I want to hear from as many of you as I can before we jump. There we go. You can just actually raise your hand, and I like that. I'm going to mispronounce your name. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Onyema.
Yema.
oh my God. What an
Thank you,
awesome.
Brian.
And Onyema is holding his baby. How adorable. Oh gosh. Dude, talk to us.
All right. So the majority of the conversations I've been having are, well, one specifically was yesterday. I called a lady whose home expired on the market, and you know, she was just you could tell she wanted to talk, you know, and she wanted to be told, you know, otherwise, or like other than what she was thinking. But she was like, you know, I thought about it and I just took my house off the market. You know, interest rates are high. Everybody's still kind of with the high interest rates. And, you know, I'm just going to stay put. I just don't need to go anywhere. And I, you know, I kind of asked her like, well, where were you going to go? You know, had you sold your home? Or she was like, I was just going to stay in the Austin area. I didn't really, you know, she goes, I have 3 adult children, and you know, I was just not really pressed to sell. So that conversation, because you know, those are conversations that are hard for me to have, because it's like you want to be in agreement with them, like you want to make sure you're voicing you know, like your understanding of their situation, but you don't want to say, no, it's a great time, you know, like you don't want to come off salesy, but we're in sales. I don't know. So I just would like to see what anybody, you know, would say, you know, say, I guess, in that situation. I told her that I would check on her in a few weeks to a month. And she said, yeah, I encouraged that. So
There's a comment that I would recommend on Yemen. Just stay with me right here. Don't put yourself on mute, okay?
okay.
Well, I noticed that your listing came off the market at $700,000, and just curious, did you have any offers? First question. Now, if they say yes, what do they look like? Right? Now you're going to hear, well, they were lowball offers. What does that look like? Well, the highest offer I got was 670. Okay. Now, the other question that I would ask at this point would be, how long have you lived in your home? And on average, homeowners move every 10 years. So there's a good chance you're talking to somebody that's been in their home for 5 years or more. Now, when you hear, I've been in my home for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, your answer is, wow, that's awesome. You've got a lot of equity in your home. Just out of curiosity, if you knew your home was worth more today than it would be in the next 5 years, what would you do?
Noted.
Question that I would ask her is, so you're gonna take a break. I totally get it. And you know, let's go back to that offer you had. You had an offer for $670,000. You know, if it's 30 days from now, 60 days from now, and you start to see prices are dropping, and a buyer showed up at the front door with $670,000 cash closing in 30 days, what would you do? And when she says sells it, the next question is, if your home's not on the market, what are the odds that a buyer is going to show up with that $670,000? She's going to say not so good. Then why don't we get together today at 4 o'clock, or tomorrow at 5 be better for you?
Beautiful.
All right, Shannon, you're up. Sean, you're on deck.
So I have a client that I've been working with. I've gone out twice with him for like half day to study condos in downtown Austin. And I kept getting this feeling. And all of the people that referred me, they're like, nah, he's gonna buy, he's gonna buy. And I'm like, I got a feeling. And so I do think he's gonna buy because he's taking serious notes when we're in them. But I just narrowed down the questions yesterday with him and said, look, we found one that was a 10 and you didn't write an offer. So tell me what caused you not to want to write that offer. And he finally said that his funds, he wants to pay cash, but because of the end of the year scenario, he can't do it till January. And I said, okay. And he said, I don't want to be wasting your time. And I'm like, okay, thanks. But I told him, I said, we're not wasting time. You're understanding Austin and downtown. So you've learned a lot. So when the time comes, we can do that. Is there any, if you see one that you love now, would you want to finance a part and pay cash for the other part and then just pay it off in January? Is that something? And he's like, no, I really want to wait till January. I didn't know how to handle that because I'm not going to rush someone. I think he's going to be a January client, but was there a different way? Because I told him with interest rates possibly going up, which is the rumor, that means prices might go up too. So what you're seeing today might not be the same price in January, but it might. We don't know.
Right. I think I heard something wrong. Did you say interest rates going up or interest rates going down?
Oh, down. Sorry.
So with interest rates going down, prices could go up. Good point. All right. I agree with you, by the way. So first of all, in the buyer consultation, I'm going to ask, are you paying cash or are you getting a loan? Right. So you're going to know that before you take them out to see any homes. Now,
Yeah, he told me cash.
he told you cash, right?
Mhm.
All right. Then when he says January, I would respond with what's important about waiting till January. Dig deep on that. There might be a really good reason. I think I heard that he's continuing to save the money.
Something about when he can draw the money, that amount, and bonds, something.
Okay. So when we make an offer, we're going to need proof of funds. All we need is a letter from your financial institution saying that you have the money in order to be able to purchase. If I can go ahead and get that from you, so we have it when we make an offer, that will help us get under contract quicker. In other words, Shannon, you want to find out if he's telling you the truth. Does he have the money? So ask for proof of funds. All right.
Okay.
The other challenge is if I take you out and show you homes today that you absolutely fall in love with, you're going to want to buy it. And if you can't buy it until January, then you're just going to be disappointed in everything else you see because you're going to compare it to that house you saw back in August and September that you absolutely loved.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah. By the way, I wouldn't show him any more properties because he's not an A buyer. He's a B buyer. You should only be out actively showing properties that to buyers who are ready, willing, and able. Now he may be willing, but he's not able if he's paying cash and doesn't have the money. Sean.
Got it.
All right. So the two conversations I'm having with the buyers, one, they say they're waiting for the crash, which my answer is you're in it. And then and then they're always saying, I'm waiting for rates to go down. And my answer is that usually that means that it's waiting for rates to go down is kind of like it's code for me for them to say, well, I'm not really, what they're saying is I'm not secure in my job. I'm not secure in my job. And when rates go down, then I'll know that inflation is in a better place. So that's what I focus on. I'm like, how do you feel about your job? Do you think you're going to have it? Is that a concern? And then we go down that road. It usually works out pretty well. These buyers that I've been working with have told me that they wanted to buy towards the end of the year. We're in September, about to be. It's the end of the year. So I'm like, you need to get with your loan officer. You need to start doing these things. Let's build your team so that when we go out and we see that property, you're ready to go. You're not behind the curve. You know who your lender is. You know the process generally, and we're ready to write the offer at that point. And I had that conversation with two of them, and they both did exactly what I told them to do, which I was astounded at. They called their lender. They started working with them. They're still maybe end of next month on when we're going to go out, but they're getting ready, which I think was a really good sign for both of them that they're serious about buying. Now I have a seller. He's a builder. His property is overpriced. It just is. The numbers there. I showed it to him. I said, we need to be about 60K in reduction to get some action on this house. You're not getting any showings. This is where the number's at. So he gave it to me. Signed the listing agreement, 60K reduction. I'm like, yes, here we go. Day before we go live, he calls me and he's like, can we do this number, which is like $2,000 lower than where he was at originally? And so I just said, he's my fiduciary. I just said, hey, the numbers aren't saying that we're going to get action there. I am going to virtually stage the property, so I think we'll get more people in there. But we've got 2 weeks, and then something has to happen, or else you could be losing money because the price of that property is going to go down. Other properties are going to come off the market. Buyers are going to get tied up. It seemed to resonate with him, but that part of it, I'm just not sure if I said that correctly. Or is there another strategy to get the seller down?
Okay, so Sean, let's break this down. You shared a couple things with us. First of all, Daryl Strickland put in the chat, show him a supply and demand analysis. 100%, Daryl, I agree. Think of the Rainmaker playbook, right? And the whole idea behind the Rainmaker playbook is you have tools available to you based on the situation and based on the conversation. And the one conversation that immediately came to mind for me, Sean, because it's in that playbook, is I'm going to pull out my legal pad, my thinking pad, as Zig Ziglar calls it, and I'm going to draw the line down, the vertical line,
Yes.
goes on a line across the bottom, and I'm going to say, here's what typically happens when a seller wants to try a price that's higher than the market is telling us, even if it's for a while, or buyers can always make an offer. Typically around 90 days, the model, the play. I've done it with you many, many times. So
Yes.
okay, so that's where I would go with that. Remember that logic makes us think and emotion makes us act. We had a lot of logical conversations today, which is good. However, you've got to get them back to the emotion, because that's where they're going to make a decision. The goal is not to get them to change their mind, because remember, nobody's going to change their mind. What they will do is make a new decision based on new information. And that decision is going to be based on emotion. So you've got to get them to emotion. That's where they're going to make the decision. Logic will make them think, but emotion will make them act. All right, guys, I've got 9:31. I hope you guys got great value today. Thank you so much. Brian, you did a really good job of growing the group while I was away. Holy cow. I'm impressed. Hope you guys.
I'm seeing a lot of new faces this morning, I think, from the Hive call as well. So
Okay, that works. Guys,
you got pitched yesterday on the Hive call, so it's great.
oh, did I really? Okay, well, we did. Okay. If you loved it, awesome. Go tell everybody. If you didn't love it, oh well.
All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care.
Role play tomorrow.
Make it a great day, everybody.
Yes.
Friday. Oh, guys. All right. Make it a great day, everybody.